Thank you very much. A serial wantrepreneur, that's me. So Sandy encouraged me to keep this as close to 5 minutes as possible. Normally my opening joke takes at least that. So I'm going to have to thank you for letting me stick to the script here and see what we can get done. For 20 years, I've begun my sessions inviting the audience, saying, please join me on a journey. Join me in a fantasy that someday a piece of business information, once it gets entered into a computer anywhere, never needs to be retyped as it moves throughout the business reporting supply chain. How many people in this room in the last 6 months have looked at a computer screen and had to type a number or text into a spreadsheet or a Word document? You've had to retype information in the last 6 months. Okay, thank you very much. That is around the national average, and we have to see what we can do to get that down. Got a dream of frictionless data. Frictionless data that's going to open only to the right people at the right time, in the right way, improving the internal reporting environment, facilitating audit, recovering auditor, and changing our expectations of how we can get actionable, usable information for decision making. And again, what we're talking about here, blockchain plus AI plus humans coming together to collaborate, to have great discussions such as those that are being facilitated here, to agree upon semantic standards. Using these technologies, they're going to be able to really help move us forward, and they raise a lot of questions. I'm an auditor. Our audit requirements say that if you're going to be counting physical inventory, you need to have that auditor sitting there in person. They need to be physically present. Can AI and a drone replace that, and how long can it take us to make that happen? This is where I need my clicker. Those were my tools. We didn't have an IBM PC when I got to work for Arthur Andersen many, many years ago. I spent most of my time writing numbers on one of those things, 14 column, using that thing in the lower left-hand corner. We used to have races to see who could be the fastest. I always won. The pink pearl, the ticky pencil, boy, you don't know how big a change that was when you could have a write once system. When you wrote the check, it put in the ledger. Oh, wow, was our life made easy. So I became the Lotus 123 expert for my firm. I began installing accounting software for my firm back in the days when forget user-friendly, you were lucky if it was user-tolerable. This was accounting software that if you hit the escape key, you corrupted all of your files. So this was not a good thing. So my clients began to seek me out when they needed, especially to migrate or upgrade their software, because nothing worked together. And that's why this ad from Digital Equipment, you remember digital? Yes. In a perfect world, this is from the Wall Street Journal, March 1990. In a perfect world, applications from different companies will work together like they came from the same company. Here we are, we have provided NAS the perfect solution for an imperfect world. Why are we here today? They already solved it. It's done. It's great. Well, what you see here spurred me on to action. I began to say, we need to bring people together to make this a possibility. We need to bring together electronic data standards to make this possible. And then maybe we can make it when you bring this together from all the different things this can happen. And boy, that was a wonderful day. That's why I co-founded something called XBRL with that goal of making it so a piece of business information, once it's entered into any system anywhere, never needs to be retyped. It did have a missing piece that I thought was going to be filled by web services. Instead, I now think that it's blockchain, by which I mean distributed ledgers. I know we use the terms almost interchangeably, so use the term that you'd like right now. So what are we talking about? Why is any of this important? Because this is the stuff that hits our pocketbook as much as saving, investing, and maybe filling out your 1040 that some of us had fun. And if we can be using blockchain to support the public, transparent, immutable, cryptographically supported, standardized audit trail, and AI to provide inexpensive and trustworthy agents and interfaces between humans and systems, and to do the analysis of the information in those audit trails, and bring in data from external sources, and look at videos and images to be able to get stuff, well, then maybe we can do some wonderful stuff and help us get the appropriate risk reward. And of course, companies have to fund their operations, their growth, and their dividends as well. And then those taxes and those dividend things and the stocks, and did they merge and did they fall apart and what happened and what do I return and why do I have to type this in? Why aren't the companies telling the IRS in the first place? And the crypto investors, I'm a reverse indicator when it comes to crypto. I have lost tens of dollars in the crypto market. But it has its own challenges, selling and exchanging and soft forks and hard forks and airdrops and do bases and allocations. Does that even work here? So whether you're working to create your own legacy or you want to spend your children's inheritance, you got to understand the risks and rewards of what's going on here. And so the companies had that responsibility to report to you, your company, your tax administration, the SEC, the Commodity Future Trading Corporation for the options and futures, and we need the data in an accessible, understandable, usable, and trustworthy fashion. So blockchain and AI can be that important facilitator, especially when it brings together semantic and syntactic standards. B plus AI can help with the #1 requirement that we have, document, 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 and as close as possible to the events as possible. It can make it so that that external data can be leveraged, can be used, can be analyzed. It can minimize the needs to have people have to enter in their third-party information that's already available from trustworthy sources. The world of XBRL has gone off and worked in corporate actions. So all those dividends and the splits and the capital gains and all that stuff can happen in an automated fashion, enabled by AI-driven analyses. Organizations who are willing to open up their transactional details, perhaps publicly or perhaps to trusted AI services, are going to be able to really, really change the way that investors can get at the information, apply their own models, their valuation models, their methods of estimation. This is not a new concept. This is a paper from the late 60s by esteemed accounting academic George H. Sorter, saying that today's reporting model is insufficient because so much information is hidden. Management is making their own assumptions. And if we could just report the events, then people could apply their own methods to it. In 1960s, we didn't have all the things that are going away, and I believe that, especially with blockchain and AI and human, we are able to get past all these hurdles and make that a possibility. The keepers of trust, management, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the audit profession. We are the ones who are singularly allowed to provide that auditor's report. We're going to be able to find blockchain plus AI to be a vital, vital tool to be able to perform our functions. Now, you may have heard people say that we don't need auditors anymore. We don't need regulators anymore because blockchain is inherently self-auditing. Have you heard that? Leading people. So here's my handy-dandy tool for remembering what auditors are looking for evidence to support. Management's assertions about valuation and existence and allocation and completeness, and blockchain helps with some of these things. And the question that we have for going out of the room is what can we do? How can we design blockchain? How can we design the future so that more and more of these things can be facilitated so that when we do need auditors, when we do need their judgment, when we do need the regulators to come in, they're just doing the things that can't be taken care of in a more automated fashion. But blockchain today is not inherently or magically supporting all these issues today, and we need to be working on that. There are people who are coming together under groups like the Karp Alliance who are trying to think through these issues. And again, Sandy and John, thank you so much. We have to have these discussions. We need to bring people together. We need to talk. We need to have reality checks. We've got to show how blockchain, AI, audit data standardization, and other technologies can help businesses better manage and report, auditors better and more contemporaneously opine on, and investors with greater comfort rely on those investments. The SEC's Scott Balgus, the Deputy Chief Economist and Deputy Director of the Department of Economics and Risk Analysis, DERA, spoke here just last week on the role of machine readability in an AI world, noting there's a tremendous potential for enhanced regulatory compliance of better, more available and usable standardized structured data. So technology alone isn't the answer. We still need people for now. Now, maybe AI can help more in the future, but right now we need the collaboration. We need to overcome the challenges across languages, across data definitions, across file formats. Chains are wonderful things, but every single one is set up differently. And so just as we've been working since the days of Benedetto Catrugli and Luca Pacioli in trying to bring together accounting so that it can work together, efforts such as the audit data standards from the ICPA, ISO PC 295, or XBRL GL are the things that are going to let us hook these chains together and make the information jump from one side to the other. We need people together to deal with these issues, to identify the challenges, to help bridge these gaps. So more solutions can come together from collaboration, communication, and compromise. And again, groups like this, efforts that you'll be hearing about more towards the end of the day, the Karp Alliance and others are here to help prioritize the efforts, the development, the adoption for the greatest short and long-term benefit. So AI plus blockchain with collaboration and structured information standards have the potential to revolutionize all of the input, including images and video that serve as the source, that serve as the evidence for the audit information supply chain. Now, there's lots and lots of questions on how we make this happen and how we make it integrate. How can you hold an AI to the requirements for auditor ethics, for example? We've got all these things that we have to work on. We've got years and years of things that we have to apply. But I look forward to working with all of you who want to move forward in this area to collaborate and achieve that journey, to achieve that vision that a piece of business information, once entered into any computer anywhere, never needs to be retyped as we move through the business reporting supply chain. Thank you very much.